So you're intelligent? That could be the reason why you're broke. Right now, someone with half your education and zero business knowledge is making 10 times your income because they never learned the smart reasons why abundance is impossible. While you analyze market trends and calculate risks like a genius, they're stumbling into million-dollar opportunities through pure faith and childlike action that makes intellectuals cringe. The most devastating truth you'll ever hear. Every degree you earned, every book you read, every sophisticated strategy you mastered has programmed your mind to reject the very abundance that simple consciousness receives effortlessly through divine intelligence. The cosmic law of abundance operates through faith, not facts. Divine intelligence responds to childlike trust, not adult skepticism. Universal supply flows to consciousness that believes without evidence rather than demanding proof before proceeding. Your intellectual superiority creates the very resistance that blocks unlimited prosperity from flowing into your experience through spiritual channels that bypass human reasoning entirely. Every MBA lesson you learned, every financial principle you mastered, every investment strategy you studied programs your consciousness to accept limitation as wisdom, while rejecting infinite possibility as foolishness. Smart people remain poor because their intelligence creates sophisticated reasons why abundance cannot manifest, while simple consciousness receives wealth because it sees no reasons why prosperity should not appear instantly. Your analytical mind dissects every opportunity until it discovers potential problems that prevent action. You research investments until you find risks that justify hesitation. You plan projects until you identify obstacles that support delay. Meanwhile, consciousness operating from divine simplicity moves forward with opportunities, while your intelligence remains paralyzed by possibilities that may never materialize. The biblical principle reveals this cosmic truth with stunning clarity. Unless you become like little children, you will never enter the kingdom of heaven. This teaching exposes intellectual pride as the barrier that separates consciousness from divine abundance. Children receive effortlessly because they expect without questioning, trust without analyzing, and believe without demanding logical explanation. Divine intelligence operates through different mechanics than human reasoning. Cosmic law creates through faith rather than force, through allowing rather than analyzing, through receiving rather than reasoning. When you approach abundance with childlike simplicity, you align with spiritual principles that generate wealth beyond intellectual comprehension through channels that educated minds dismiss as impossible. Dave Thomas exemplified this principle when he started Wendy's at age 40 as a high school dropout with nothing but simple faith that people wanted fresh, quality burgers. While MBA graduates developed sophisticated theories about fast food market saturation and competitive positioning, Thomas simply believed customers deserved better than frozen patties and refused to complicate his vision with focus groups or market research. His stupid insistence on fresh beef and quality ingredients generated the restaurant empire that complex business models said was impossible for an uneducated man entering a crowded market. Thomas succeeded because his lack of formal business education prevented the intellectual resistance that sophisticated thinking creates. While educated entrepreneurs developed elaborate strategies about brand differentiation and demographic targeting, Thomas simply focused on making better burgers with simple ingredients. His childlike certainty that quality would win created the empire that business consultants said was impossible for someone without corporate restaurant experience or advanced marketing knowledge. His demonstration reveals that abundance flows to consciousness that operates from knowing rather than thinking, from certainty rather than calculation, from faith rather than analysis. Thomas proved that divine intelligence provides resources for authentic contribution, regardless of educational credentials or intellectual sophistication, when consciousness maintains unwavering trust in cosmic support. Your sophisticated understanding of economic principles actually programs your subconscious mind to expect limitation, competition, and scarcity as natural conditions. You learn that money is hard to earn, that resources are finite, that success requires struggle. This intellectual conditioning creates the exact vibrational frequency that repels the abundance that simple consciousness attracts through faith-based expectation. Simple minds receive wealth because they operate from consciousness that knows abundance as normal reality rather than rare exception. They expect money to appear because they see no reason why it should not. They pursue opportunities because they focus on possibility rather than problems. They take action because they trust outcomes rather than analyzing obstacles. The doctorate in economics that taught you about market cycles, inflation rates, and investment risk also programmed your consciousness to fear financial loss more than expect financial gain. Your business degree that explained competitive disadvantages, market saturation, and profit limitations created the mental framework that justifies settling for salary instead of claiming unlimited income through divine channels. Mark Cuban understood this principle when he started his first business with no formal training in entrepreneurship or technology. While computer science graduates developed sophisticated theories about market dynamics, Cuban simply saw opportunity and moved forward with childlike enthusiasm that ignored intellectual objections. His simple consciousness that knew success was inevitable created the wealth that educated experts said was impossible for someone without technical background. Cuban's transformation from bartender to billionaire illustrates that divine intelligence provides infinite resources to consciousness that operates from faith-based action rather than analysis-based hesitation. His willingness to appear stupid to intellectual observers enabled him to access cosmic creativity that sophisticated thinking blocks through excessive complexity and artificial limitation. His success demonstrates that abundance consciousness operates through different principles than academic intelligence. While educated minds create elaborate theories about why success is difficult, simple consciousness experiences success because it sees no reasons why prosperity should not manifest immediately through whatever means divine intelligence provides. Now I invite you to embrace divine simplicity by writing in the comments below. I am divinely guided beyond human reasoning. When you make this declaration publicly, you signal cosmic forces that you choose faith over facts, knowing over thinking, divine wisdom over human intellect. Your written commitment activates spiritual law that bypasses intellectual resistance to demonstrate abundance through channels your educated mind cannot comprehend. The intelligent decisions that keep you poor operate through consciousness that demands logical explanation before trusting divine guidance. You analyze inspirations until you discover reasons for hesitation. You research opportunities until you find problems that justify inaction. You calculate risks until you create certainty that success is unlikely. This intellectual process guarantees continued limitation because it requires proof before proceeding with faith-based action. Divine guidance often appears illogical to human reasoning because cosmic intelligence operates according to spiritual law that transcends intellectual limitation. When divine inspiration suggests starting a business with no experience, moving to unknown location with no contacts, or investing in opportunity with no guarantees, your educated mind creates sophisticated arguments against following authentic guidance. The story of David facing Goliath reveals divine intelligence operating through simple faith that defies intellectual analysis. Every educated military strategist knew that a young shepherd had no chance against trained warrior armed with superior weapons. But David's consciousness operated from childlike trust in divine protection, rather than analytical assessment of physical circumstances. David succeeded because his simple faith activated spiritual law that makes impossible victories inevitable when consciousness aligns with divine truth. His willingness to appear foolish to intellectual observers enabled him to access cosmic power that sophisticated military training could never provide. David proved that divine intelligence accomplishes through simple faith what human intelligence deems impossible through logical analysis. This biblical demonstration teaches that breakthrough requires consciousness, willing to abandon intellectual safety for faith-based action that appears irrational to educated thinking. David's victory validates the principle that simple trust in divine guidance produces results that complex strategy cannot achieve through human effort alone. Your financial struggles stem from intellectual consciousness that requires certainty before commitment, proof before proceeding, guarantees before gambling on divine guidance. This analytical approach prevents the faith-based action that activates spiritual law, enabling miraculous manifestation of resources through channels that educated minds dismiss as unrealistic fantasies. Simple consciousness receives abundance because it operates from knowing that divine intelligence provides everything needed for authentic contribution. This childlike trust creates the faith-based action that demonstrates cosmic support through synchronicities, opportunities, and resources that appear precisely when needed, despite apparent impossibility from intellectual perspective. The sophisticated investment strategies you learned create the very limitations that prevent unlimited income through divine channels. Your education taught you to diversify risk rather than concentrate faith, to expect modest returns rather than miraculous multiplication, to plan for security rather than trust divine provision. This intellectual framework programs consciousness for limitation disguised as wisdom. Millionaires who started with nothing often attribute their success to luck because they lack intellectual understanding of the spiritual principles that operated through their simple consciousness. They moved forward with opportunities that educated minds would reject through analysis. They took risks that intelligent calculation would discourage. They trusted instincts that sophisticated reasoning would override. Walt Disney exemplified this principle when he mortgaged everything to create Disneyland, despite expert predictions of certain failure. Financial advisors, entertainment industry professionals, and business consultants provided sophisticated analyses proving that theme parks could not succeed in Southern California. Disney's simple consciousness ignored intellectual objections and followed creative vision that seemed impossible to educated observers. Disney succeeded because his childlike imagination operated from consciousness that knew dreams become reality when supported by unwavering faith. His willingness to appear financially irresponsible to intelligent critics enabled him to create an entertainment empire that generates billions of dollars through magical experiences that analytical minds said customers would never pay premium prices to enjoy. His demonstration reveals that abundance flows to consciousness that follows creative inspiration, despite intellectual evidence suggesting impossibility. Disney proved that simple faith in divine guidance creates wealth beyond anything sophisticated business planning can achieve through logical analysis alone. Intelligence creates complexity that blocks divine simplicity. Education programs consciousness for limitation disguised as realism. Sophisticated thinking generates elaborate reasons why abundance cannot manifest, while simple faith creates conditions that enable unlimited prosperity through spiritual law that operates beyond intellectual comprehension. Release the intellectual pride that keeps you analyzing instead of acting, thinking instead of trusting, reasoning instead of receiving. Embrace the divine simplicity that enables consciousness to access unlimited resources through faith-based alignment with cosmic intelligence that knows how to demonstrate abundance through means your educated mind cannot fathom. Align with divine simplicity and declare with childlike conviction, I choose faith over facts and trust divine intelligence to demonstrate unlimited abundance through my simple consciousness that expects miracles as normal reality. When you embrace this consciousness, you activate spiritual law that bypasses intellectual resistance to manifest wealth through channels that sophisticated thinking blocks. Your intellectual superiority must dissolve to make space for divine simplicity that receives effortlessly what complex thinking struggles to achieve. The abundance you seek awaits consciousness, humble enough to appear foolish to educated observers, while wise enough to trust divine intelligence over human reasoning. Stop being smart about money and start being simple about abundance. Divine intelligence responds to consciousness that knows without needing to understand, trusts without requiring proof, and acts without demanding guarantees. When you operate from this childlike awareness, unlimited prosperity flows through channels your education never taught you existed. Your transformation from intellectual poverty to divine prosperity begins the moment you choose simple faith over sophisticated analysis. The wealth that seems impossible to your educated mind becomes inevitable to consciousness that trusts divine intelligence to provide through means that transcend human limitation. Embrace the divine stupidity that creates millionaires, while intellectual brilliance creates employees. Your simple consciousness holds the key to unlimited abundance that sophisticated thinking cannot access through analysis alone. Trust divine intelligence over human reasoning and watch abundance flow through your willingness to appear foolish while accessing wisdom that makes the impossible inevitable.